Welcome back to Slop Live. Today's Slopic is about the Odyssey, the latest movie from Christopher Nolan. There's been a lot of discourse about it in the last few months, and if you somehow avoided it, it basically boils down to people complaining that the movie went woke. Complaints that the movie was historically inaccurate for multiple reasons, due to things such as casting Elliot Page, a trans man, as a character in the movie, and Lupita Nyong'o, a black woman, as Helen of Troy. All this outrage, and they ended up having about 9 minutes total screen time in an almost 3-hour movie. Anyway, due to living in a bubble, many of these people convinced themselves the movie was going to flop, with tweets like this before the movie came out, saying Odyssey will flop, and saying Christopher Nolan has created his first flop, and that the Odyssey is going to lose money, and he deserves it. Well, the movie came out, and it's anything but a flop, leading to absolutely astronomical levels of cope. The Odyssey grossed $264 million in its worldwide opening, which is the biggest opening for Christopher Nolan ever. So naturally, the goalposts shifted. One tweet saying, "What they don't tell you is it's only the third biggest opening of the year, behind Toy Story 5 and the Super Mario Galaxy movie." Translation, not as good as a talking toy and a video game movie. They don't tell you it likely needs around 800 million worldwide just to break even. The Odyssey also ended up with a 95% critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes and a 97% rating on audience score. Well, the new narrative now is that the real audience score is sitting at 56%, not the fake 97% that they're showing. A Reddit user had looked at the broad JSON data and says it's actually 56%, as the unverified ratings were 498 likes and 388 dislikes, saying that real people are dragging this butchered mess and Rotten Tomatoes is bending over backwards to protect it. Well, despite the narrative, this isn't just exclusive to the Odyssey, this is just how Rotten Tomatoes is for every recent movie. I've said before that this system sucks, but in order to try and combat review bombing, Rotten Tomatoes' audience score is based on verified ticket sales, usually in the first week or so of the film's release, and this does usually skew unnaturally positive. An example I've used in the past is that the Melania movie has a 99% verified audience rating. You actually have to click and expand the audience score to review the unverified ratings as well. With the unverified audience rating and people review bombing the Odyssey, you end up with a score like 56%, as there's a low sample size, so it's easier to skew the score with review bombing. We also had tweets like this saying the real scores for the Odyssey have dropped, 5.3. The actual customers have spoken, the shills will seethe, with a screenshot of the Metacritic score, the site famous for never having review bombing ever. Currently, it's sitting at a 5.1 with 1,840 user ratings. So how do the scores look on the sites people actually use? Over on IMDb, the Odyssey currently has an 8.4 with 146,000 ratings already. Of course, if you look at the scores, there are still 15,000 one-star reviews, but they're not really able to make a dent. And over on Letterboxd, the Odyssey has a 4.35 out of 5 based on 1.1 million ratings. Though I'm sure they'll claim these sites are botted or paid off or something like that. And now onto the final level of cope. We have this one saying, breaking, the Odyssey is faking ticket sales by buying up theaters and seats to make the movie look like a success. Moviegoers are reporting having to take terrible seats, but when they show up, the theaters are mostly empty. And their source for this information is one Reddit post and its comments, which already isn't exactly proof, and the subreddit this was posted to is actually cropped out in the image. Well, I managed to locate the original post, and it was on r/The Critical Drinker. Now, if you're not familiar with The Critical Drinker, let's just say him and his fans aren't the biggest fan of the Odyssey. So there might be a little bias going on here. There really is just mass levels of psychosis going on here, because people are unable to cope with the fact that the movie is successful. Who would have thought one of the most popular directors on the planet directing one of the most well-known stories on the planet would do well at the box office? This video was of course a paid shill by Hollywood, the Odyssey in cinemas at IMAX now. Thanks for slopping by.